we were expecting a controversy in the first game and a close second game. We only got one of them, but we are not complaining. So, what a game, guys. It was the first instance ever where in a World Cup game where we saw not just 3-4 centuries. Agar 3 hote, to bhi it would have been the first instance ever. And
नहीं 3 तो अभी हुए ना in that South Africa game.
So this is the first instance ever where we saw 4 centuries in a World Cup, and actually this is the third ODI ever which saw 4 centuries. So I mean, quite a good game to watch, guys. What do you think about that game?
Yeah, I also feel both the games had similar theme lines. One team scored a lot of runs, collapsed, but found a way to win. The other team scored a lot of runs, collapsed, and they were always waiting, so they did not win. So I think this game sums up a lot of things that they need to do in terms of Sri Lanka, in terms of reviewing. I mean, the previous game they sent South Africa in, and they saw a record score being scored. Today they batted first, and they had a record score being chased. So I don't know इससे बुरा कुछ हो सकता है क्या? So only upwards from here.
Yeah, Gurkirat, if you are in the Sri Lanka camp, how worried you would be about that bowling attack?
It's like Nikhil said, difficult to sum up because two different grounds, neither bowling first, neither bowling second has worked. And today you felt that they had a chance when they got 2 wickets early, but some credit has to go to the pair of Shafiq and Rizwan. It was helped by some defensive captaincy by Shanaka of not trying to kill the game, and then DDS didn't step up. Pathirana lacked control. But see, the way I see it, if you are relying on two 20-year-olds to give you breakthrough in the middle overs, you're not in a very good position, because you have to understand. See, for spinners it is still okay because spinners will have some control, and I felt that for the first 7 overs Velalage bowled well. He was actually wearing his pace, but the pressure was being released at the other end, sometimes by DDS, sometimes by Madhushanka, sometimes by some other bowler. So there was no support for Velalage, and if you are relying on another 20-year-old to provide you breakthroughs, you're just asking for too much. Because see, these bowlers can be there as your X factor or can be there as someone who could support the bowling, but if the onus on bringing breakthroughs is lying on their shoulders, then you are going to be in a tough spot. So these two games will have to be a learning curve for Pathirana, the last one and this one. And that is how things will go with young pacers. It's something that we have discussed at length with regards to Imran Malik and India, but it is like that. So don't want to be too harsh on Pathirana. I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying that as a 20-year-old, these are the kind of processes that he will go through. And people who are expecting him to be the next big thing will also have to be patient that this will happen. We have seen even with actors where they've just not clicked. So it's a part and parcel of the game. But yeah, others should have probably done a little bit more than what they did.
Yeah, but it does beckon the question, that is World Cup the time where you want to set a platform or would want to expect someone to grow in bigger shoes. But having said that, Sri Lanka are missing a few of their key bowlers, so can't really complain. I just want to quickly move on to the top performers of the day before we end up talking about all of them and then jump to the segment. So here it is. Yep. So guys, first game, it's sort of quite obvious. So let's address that first. Nikhil, we'll start with you. If it's the obvious one, then we won't even need Gurkirat to chip in.
No, I think X Factor did well to become one of the top performers for a lot of us. And again, he just did what we expected of him. Best batter, look at that strike rate. And also the good thing was when he got to his turn. I know Simon Tool may not have been watching that game, but he started to accelerate very much after that as well. But he was still going harder even before. So that is good to see. I think a good lesson for England as well. but they'll they'll take this. Johnny Bairstow and him laid a very good platform early on, and they both took times to attack, and which is how you want a partnership to grow. So I think he ensured, along with Root, that England had a power score in already, and then even after that collapse, they were able to have that above par cushion because of the rest of the people just chipping it with one or two boundaries, and Brook chipping in with a handy cameo. So I think Root and Maran's partnership, I think, pretty much set it up nicely for them. Also glad to get Shoriful right. He was a top performer for me. I think the way he bowled, uh, I think he was one of the few bowlers who I've seen go to the Yorker very early. I mean, even before Malan got to his turn, I think he bowled a very good Yorker, nearly had Malan off his feet. So that is something that I actually expected Pathirana to do, or somebody to tell him, because see, 20-year-olds are not going to think on their own. We're having test match 50 plus people having been told कि भाई ये करो ये डालो. So Pathirana is still 20 years old. Yeah, you have to go and tell him that if the short ball is not working, if you're going around the wicket and bowling wides, don't try that angle. I mean, sometimes it's just, I'm not even worried about the ठीक है, उसके बारे में बाद में बात करेंगे, for defending Pathirana not, but I think top performer David Malan, Shariful Islam, very happy. Das Dada had a great game for Bangladesh, but I think a lot to ride on, just individual performances again for them.
Gurkir, coming to you and sticking with the first game, do you feel was it the case of Bangladesh spinners not bowling well, or was it the case of England batters really batting well?
I thought there were quite a few moments where just Bangladesh just lost they lost the tactical battle, and then when you've not planned well, your execution, you really can't talk about the execution bit. I felt they needed to start off with Shoriful. They went to Fizz, so Fizz got swing only for the first 2 overs, and after that Malan actually turned to be the aggressor in that partnership early on in the power play, which is rare to see when you batting with Bairstow. And yeah, by the time Shariful came into the attack, there was hardly any swing available, so it wasn't the best usage. Then when the spinners came in, I felt the boundary dimensions played into the mind of spinners too much, that they were just firing it in. There was some turn and some grip available. It's not that there wasn't, because the over in which Shakib got Bairstow, Shakib bowled four deliveries which were in the range of 93 to 97. All four deliveries were played off without any concern by Bairstow, and then I think it was Root who came in, who faced the last delivery. But there were two deliveries, one bowled at 85 and the other bowled at 88. The one that he bowled at 85, it beat Bairstow both in the air and for the turn. And then the ball that was bowled at 88, which eventually got Bairstow out, it actually stuck in a little bit and then skidded through. So there was help, but Bangladesh spinners did not get the pace and the lines right. And I just think that there were hardly any deliveries which were sort of in the good length area or the full. They were particularly bowling on the shorter side, and the pitch wasn't as slow that that the batters couldn't go to the back foot and then play their strokes. There were so many times that Bairstow just went back cut. Malan did that, and they were cutting both in front of square and behind square. So that told you that there was enough pace in the pitch for to not force an issue from the back foot. Whatever you had to do had to be done, on the front foot by beating the batter either in the air or off the pitch, and the pace wasn't right enough to do that. And yeah, I think from England's point of view, what would be the best, the good thing is that now three of their batters who you look at in terms of arresting a collapse, whether it's Malan, Root or Butler, they've got runs and they've looked good. So there would not be a worry that we could collapse. And Topley coming in actually will sort of make things make few things easier. They would actually they would want Vokes to now pick up wickets in the power play to sort of breathe easy. From Bangladesh's point of view, the best thing is that Litton got runs because he was not scoring anything. But yeah, this game, I'm not even sure we could say that this game turned at any point of time, because Bangladesh were just behind the eight ball from the beginning.
Yeah, only thing that I can say that how awful England are. I mean, who scores only 66 runs in the last 10 overs and lose 6 wickets? Guys, come on. I mean, they need to address that.
The second team lost 5 wickets for 61 runs and lost the match. So That is just answers the query even more.
Yeah, I mean, if Avnish would have been here, he would have moved on by adding food for thought. But yeah, talking about the top performers of the second game, guys. Now we saw 400s. We have to talk about each one of them. We'll start in the order of your preference of which was the best one, and then we'll take it from there. So let's start with Nikhil first. Nikhil, which one was your best 100 according to you, and then we'll take it turn by turn talking about all of them.
See, in terms of pure aesthetics, it's difficult to not pick Sadira and Shafiq both. I felt they both were on similar lines as compared to the ones for Kusal and Rizwan. Again, no such, maybe just my bias, because I saw Sadira hit a very good extra cover six. So that is an automatically a pinch hitter for me. कि भाई ये चीज तो top class ही. And again, it was the pace at which Sadira was able to manage that. With Kusal, you know it was about sixes. He was getting them in time, and again got a few lives. That's fine, but I just felt Sadira felt a lot more in control at all points of time. And again, Kusal Mentis in just 2 games is got to what 14 sixes, already gone past Jaiswirya's record for most
Yeah,
sixes in a World Cup. So that just tells
just
you,
two innings.
yeah, in just 2 innings. I mean, that is crazy to fear to think so. But again, it's just how Kusal he's been to Sri Lanka's fortunes. And again,
Yeah,
Sadira coming in. We discussed about him and Kusal doing well against Pakistan, and they both combined to do well together. Maybe they got out at the wrong time, but I think they had given them enough. And again, it was about the lower order just not stepping up. I mean, we'll discuss about them later.
of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, sticking to Kusal's knock, Gurkirat. First and foremost, do you agree with Nikhil regarding the two more aesthetically beautiful hundreds, or do you think there was? Would you rather pick the other twos, Kusal or Rizwan?
Yeah, for me, in terms of aesthetics, Kusal was right up there. I mean, just the way he, played those pulls. He was just, see, one is, sometimes you are feasted with poor bowling and you just keep taking advantage of it. The other is sometimes you just manufacture lengths or manufacture shots to lengths that aren't so poor. And with Kushal, I saw a lot of that, especially to pacers. I mean, he was just picking up those short of full length deliveries so well, and to pull, both in front of square and behind square and pull it well. I thought it was outstanding. I just feel that both the Pakistani spinners made it uh, comparatively easier for Mendes and Sadira to just cut them. it just felt
Yeah,
like
of course.
it just
I
felt
mean,
like it was a net session.
you called it, and we provide it. Look at Shadab's beehive, and look at all those balls. They were given so much of room. So yeah,
Yeah, even that wicket is something that Nisanka should really think about again, not converting another start. But yeah, I mean, at one point of time it felt like that there was a net session going on where the batters were just practicing for their cut shot. And it was just bizarre to not see any change in the length, and the change actually came much later. I thought probably once the fourth or the fifth wicket that had fell, and I don't even think that that change came from Shadab. It was Nawaz who actually started to bowl it slightly fuller. So yeah, but situationally, in terms of if you look at what the situation was and the relative lack of experience, etc., etc., I think this probably, if you consider everything, Abdullah Shafiq's 100 is probably the best because he's the most inexperienced out of the four batters. He's not had a great record in list A or under 19 for Pakistan. He's been purely picked because of his test exploits, and I thought the game awareness that he showed, and then to target which bowler according to the matchup was just outstanding. I mean, he took on DDS, and then he also was the first one to try a couple of shots against Velalage, who was bowling a very good length. So yeah, in terms of the impact, I feel that Abdullah Shafiq's 100 was probably the best one.
mm,
Just pulling Paji's leg here. As per Crickletics, in the impact index, Sadira's impact is 61. Rizwan is 66. So it's pairing Rizwan and Sadira, and the next two are on similar lines, Kusal and Abdullah Shafiq. So
I
just
mean,
food.
So
that can be there.
One second, just as Audi says, food for thought. Let's move on.
so there's a very good comment. We have
Yeah,
taken Rizwan's knock for granted, guys. We've spoken about all three. We've not spoken about Rizwan. Of course,
yeah,
he's the player of the match, and
yeah.
we have this habit of not talking about player of the match at all. Pranav Anand is actually asking a very good question. Did Rizwan always have the inside out shot, or is it something that he's developed recently? Pranav, I mean, we just have data as always. Now, guys, too many things to look at here. I'll just remove
Mm.
Pranav's comment. Now, this is Rizwan. On the left side, you have Rizwan's ODI wagon wheel boundaries, uh, which is since the 2019 World Cup till 2022 World Cup. And this is just on the right is his boundaries this year. Just look at how he has heard whatever criticism Gurkirat always had of him, and look at the boundaries he's now scoring on the offside, Gurkirat. How happy are you looking at this chart?
Yeah, I remember in the preview I said that I feel Rizwan could be the MVP because of this reason that in ODIs he knows that offside exists. It's in T20s that he forgets that he can score on the offside. And I won't say that he did not have that inside out because I remember him playing a good inside out to Bishnoi last year in the Asia Cup when Pakistan chased that score. So he's had the shots, but again, it's something that I've associated with Pant as well, that there are shots on the offside, but when it comes the T20 game, or when you feel that okay, there's a lot of pressure on these guys to find the boundary, the default is to look or hack towards the leg side, uh, and it's not sustainable. We have seen that with a few players. Ross Taylor, was always someone who could score big runs and had the potential, but if you see when the change came in his ODI career, where he scored so many runs at number four, I think it was for around 5 years, he also started playing a lot through the offside. So
Hmm.
it's good that Rizwan made that change, and hopefully all those batters who sometimes are just too leg side dominated, or in some cases too offside dominated, they realize that there are other areas to score on in the game. So yeah, I mean it can only mean great things for Pakistan if Rizwan can actually convert this into T20s as well.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, I was a little worried, guys, because let's be fair, Pakistan did not really start the chase in a positive manner. I mean, of course, Nikhil would have other ideas, but for a moment, I was worried. I did some numbers, and this is what Pakistan top five batters have done in ODIs. Whenever they've been given, yeah. So this is basically their numbers in the first 20 balls of a chase when they are chasing 300 plus. Now look at most of them. They in the first 20 ball they hardly even scoring at a strike rate of 90. So Nikhil, do you really feel that Pakistan batters, the pair who eventually was responsible to getting them home? I'm talking about Rizwan and Abdullah Shafiq here. Did they time the chase really well, or is it also down to the paucity of quality bowling in the Sri Lankan lineup? And of
Yeah, I
course, the
was.
captaincy bit as well.
Yeah, I think that is what I was, about to get at. That see, you have to also play the situation and the opponent. I think they played the opponent very well. They knew that they had to stay afloat in the game. And again, their best bet, like for most subcontinent players, is we get in, we get set, then we get a lot of boundaries. So that is something that they relied on. And even when they were getting going after Baba got out, you still saw them hit the bat balls away. So it wasn't as if they were too far. They were just going around 5.5, and they were just there and thereabouts for a decent amount of time. But the thing that they played on, if you see, you can look at the comparison as well. 48 for 2, okay, you just lost Babar on the score of 37. In the 11 to 20 phase, they started to made up for it, and then they went to 72, and then they went to 89. It is just the kind of ODI knock that you want to see from your set batters, and what helped them is Sri Lanka waiting for a mistake. It is something that I've said in the past, and I'll say it again. Teams cannot wait. You have one specialist bowler, it's fine. You have to look to take wickets. Shanaka, I've said this like from the start of the Asia Cup. He's getting himself on, holding Tikshana back, holding Madhushanka back. Madhushanka came only when it was if and only if needed. You will not be able to You can't put two 20-year-olds and say, okay, bhai, this is the toughest road, just ace it. How are they going to be able to do it? And Velalaki, to his credit, still did decently. But the fact is, you still thought at that point of time, let's pair him with somebody who will they'll throw a wicket to. They will not. There is no need for them to throw the wicket to. They know there always an other bowling option waiting to be explored. And I think the pitch did them dirty. Pitch report also did me dirty. They said it's very dry, which is why he actually elected to bat first. If he knew that it was going to get better, or if it was going to be this flat, maybe he would have opted to chase. So again, that is something that maybe played into their hand, didn't play into their hands. Okay, we expected some turn, so DDS could have come in, Asalanka could have come in. But my point is, now you've seen how it's happening. You have to just start making the move too early. So I think, to credit to both Abdul and Rizwan, they just made them pay for every error. And then Pathirana with those five wides, it is not going to help. You are leaving that guy out in the dry. Keep trying the short ball. Hopefully, one will come through. And that,
Mm,
it is so difficult to ace this format. And you have a 20-year-old guy who's struggling with his line. Most runs through wides nowadays. It is 74, almost more than thrice the next best. So it is something that's a clear area of improvement. And you then ask that guy to go around the wicket. भाई अगर ओवर से जो उसका नेचुरल एंगल है वहां से अगर लाइन कंट्रोल नहीं हो रही, what percentage of chances are there for him to be able to do it better from that awkward angle, which will make it even more difficult? Then his natural angle will sling it down the leg side. So I just felt, in terms of planning, Sri Lanka, again, not for the first time, very rigid. This is what we planned.
mm,
We will stick to it. And
mm,
I mean, he's good for Yorkers. How many Yorkers did we see him attempt? Why not? So I think there is a long way to go for Pathirana, but I don't think they helped him as well get better.
mm. And I mean, at the end of the day, 25 wides in this game. Of course, I
Huh?
mean, it's 20 too many, if not all 25 too many. Sri Krishna K is in the comments. Guys, please like this stream and yeah, keep asking your questions. Just want to go back to that innings progression chart, because Sri Lanka actually did something pretty good today. That 102 runs that they scored in the period of 21 to 30 is the highest in that over period in this World Cup so far. But I mean, in hindsight, you can actually see that the last 20 overs, one can actually say that lost them the game. They potentially could have scored a lot more. Now, I want to address a particular player in the team, guys. Dhananjaya De Silva. He's been around for a while. Uh, he sucked the batting momentum when he walked out to bat. One can say that maybe he did not need to bowl, especially with two right-handers. And just like how Rizwan forgets that there is an offside in T20s, maybe captains forget that there is a matchup in ODIs as well. Maybe he did not need to bowl. But Gurkirat, at this point of time, how do you assess a player like DDS? Is he there just because he can contribute in both facets, or his place is justified if he would have been not an all-rounder, so to speak?
it it's a tough one because obviously numbers are not there to justify his inclusion. But again, you have to look at who are the replacements. That is one. The other is, I feel, uh, the amount of rescue jobs that he's done in test matches, that bias just comes ki theek hai, someday he will click, because he's actually been good for Sri Lanka in test matches. He's done a lot of rescue jobs. That is something that somebody cannot deny. It's sort of a, I'm not drawing an exact comparison, but I want to sort of explain it using the Jadeja example. We sometimes have issues with Jadeja not doing well with the bat, etc. While that criticism would be justified, and I said this earlier, that okay, Jadeja is not doing well with the bat, but do you have a replacement that could bowl as well as him, or could do 80% of the ball with him and then probably make up for it with the bat? I'm not so sure. So I think it's sort of the same issue. If he goes out, the balance then again goes for a toss, because Shanaka cannot bat at number 6. That's again a spot too high. So it's, and I also feel a major reason why he gets selected is because of the number of rescue jobs he's done in the other format. Now you will say, and the criticism, oh, we shouldn't really mix formats. But we've seen enough examples to see that teams don't work that way. You
Hmm.
do carry confidence from one format to the another, and we've seen that enough. We've seen that with the Indian team doing it with Surya Kumar Yadav. Abdullah Shafiq today is a good example. So it's difficult for team managements to not look at what the player has done in the other formats, because some basics remain the same of the sport. So it just is that way.
I have a
Yeah.
radical solution. Can they
Batao.
open with him? Open with him. Drop Kusal. Open with him. Ask him to make use of the power play. He's anyways defensively decent. He's done enough rescue jobs to tell you that there is temperament, there is skill. So you are not going to lose anything. उल्टा अगर गैप में 4-5 बॉल भी गैप में चले गए, you'll still be a net positive as opposed to what is adding down the order.
But then who
Just
replaces him
very
in the 11?
randomly. So that is something that you can figure, right? You can have an additional bowler if you want. You can play Kasun Rajit or Lahiru Kumar. Add more bowling if you want to. In that sense,
Hmm.
you have three batters who are doing decently. Asalanka, I think today for me the biggest disappointment was Asalanka. I expected a lot from him from that stage, but to get out like that, there was a slip in place. It was wide.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
still went for that dab. You don't want that to happen. I know it can happen, but those are the positions where you want your number five to really take it on. Because when you have an underperforming number six, out of form number seven, and an all rounder who's not contributing much because he's batting too low, your number five becomes very crucial. So I think if they, I know ये नहीं होगा. I just feel कि it's a option for them to try. Okay, open with him. Might as well get those few flurry of early boundaries. May just set the tone for you.
Yeah, because he's decent in terms of having those orthodox shots versus pace. He's done that enough. So maybe, like Nikhil said, कुछ अगर
Hmm.
gap में जाते हैं तो there is net positive only. I I I
Hey,
I also have another thing to touch upon, and I'm not sure, but so Shanaka in the last game only bowled 6 overs. I can understand him doing that because Delhi's a small ground, and there was a good chance that he could have been really hit badly. But this venue's sort of big enough. Could he have bowled himself a little more, given how DDS went for runs and then Asalanka also went for runs? He only bowled five, and again he's ended up with the best economy. Now I'm not sure. I'm not saying that he would have done really better, because there's a good chance that had he come on to bowl, when that pair was set, that he could have also been taken for runs. But
yeah, but yeah,
bowling DDS wouldn't have made any sense because DDS was already taken for runs. So is that an idea, or is that an option that can be flirted with? I'm confused. That is why I'm asking. I'm not
yeah,
sure what's
and
the right way.
this actually tells us about his captaincy as well. I mean, how does he sees himself? Because there are a lot of other captains who just want to be in the thick of things, just want to do everything themselves. And then there is Shanaka, who around the 40th over mark is sending an off spinner who's already had a very bad day with bat and ball against two players who are perfectly set. So yeah, I mean, a lot of questions for Sri Lanka to answer. To be honest, we have been getting a lot of questions about Pakistan's bowling. Ejaz Ali in the comments is asking about Pakistan bowling concerns. They're badly missing Naseem. Ejaz, please like the stream. If I mean, we definitely answer your question, and everyone else who's watching, just please do like this. I also saw one of the comments regarding Shaheen. Yeah, Pranav Anand, as usual, is asking about Shaheen. Guys, I have a chart here before we begin to talk about Shaheen. Yeah, wait up. Here it is. Can you see it? Yeah. Now, the only left-hander was got out in the second over. He was essentially bowling to two right-handers in his first spell. How do you define this pitch map? एक cluster तो दूर दूर तक नहीं है, but I mean, this just exemplifies what Shaheen has been in recently. If the ball is not moving for him,
He's had troubles when the ball's not moving around. Today, I heard in the commentary that he was also carrying some finger injury, but this is just too bad. Uh, See, they need him to step up in the absence of Naseem, and Pakistan would be thanking their stars that Hassan Ali from somewhere has stuck decent form. Because today also, I felt that you know Haris Rauf might have gone for fewer runs, but Hassan Ali again was accurate. And then again, he also got Asalanka, which I felt, if you want to look at one turning point, it could be that
Yeah,
turning point, that him getting Asalanka over there. But yeah, had Hassan Ali not been accurate, you know, this Pakistan bowling attack would have looked far worse than what it is doing right now. I also felt that sometimes I think Haris Rauf has a tendency to just go short, probably because he takes it on his ego. Uh, could actually mix his lengths a little bit, because he's someone who can get that bounce from an awkward length.
good length,
I feel,
yeah.
if he bowls in the 4 to 6 meter length a little more than what he's doing right now, he might just be more effective. But he wants to try that 6 to 8 meter, or sometimes 8 to 10 meter length, which makes it easier for the batter when there is space. Because you look at the number of times he got cut and pulled. Today there was another, I think it was Patum Nisanka or Kusal Mendes who cut him over point for a six. I'm not sure, but he was just allowing Sri Lankan batters to play with his pace. So there needs to be better planning. There is no, you will not say that there is a dearth of skill with regards to Haris Rauf, but there has to be better planning. And as far as Shine's concerned, yeah, 2 games without getting any wickets in the power play. He's never been as effective in the middle overs. And today, though, he was just completely taken for cleaners. That pitch map says a lot. There is no semblance of any plan or any idea whatsoever.
And that just sums up Pakistan. Primary new ball bowler not doing anything. Primary end overs bowler taking 1 wicket. Best batter on paper getting out for 10. And they've gone on to chase 345 in a game. I mean,
Yeah,
it is just
a record World Cup total.
a record World Cup total. Matlab ekdam proper Pakistan thing that only Pakistan can do. But maybe it's time also that the focus shifts on others as opposed to just 2, 3 names in that lineup. So they will be buoyed by that, because it will give them a lot of confidence going into the next, I don't know, small game that they're going to go play with.
Yeah, and if you are an Indian fan, you'd at least hope that Shaheen को at least एक game और में form न मिले. He might, if he wants, he can pick up form from the 4th game onwards. Just to wrap this up, and given that, of course, it's a big India-Pakistan game that Pakistan play next. Nikhil, last question of the day from Varun Venkatesan. And Varun, please like this stream. Should Pakistan look to play Osama Mir instead of the struggling Shadab Khan?
मैं तो पहले बोला था कि it's time to move on, but they are not going to, which is okay, but they'll have to do it at some point of time. They'll have to at least try, because at this point of time with Shadab, it is very predictable कि वो क्या डालने वाला है. So I don't know. You can't just change a sudden thing. I mean, we discussed this in a review where I said, Avnish, that DK on air felt that it is a technical problem. So if it's a technical problem, it is not going to get solved during the tournament at all. So you want to play him, of course you play him, but you'll have to find a way to fit Osama Mir there. But again, I don't see a direct place where he can come in, given that now you have to nurture those injuries to Shaheen Haris, but Hassan is taking wickets, and Nawaz has scored runs in the past, so you can't drop him. So the only place that you can play Osama is Shadab. So probably एक दो game और, and if it doesn't work out on a spin deck, maybe then they'll probably take the call. I think today's game will help them a lot, because they had a lot of net negatives with the ball, with the bat, but 3 very good performances from Hassan, Rizwan and Abdullah Shafiq just papered over all of that, and which this tells you, even in a longer format game, individual performances can still paper over an off game of sorts.
I also feel it's not just Nawaz scoring runs, but Nawaz has bowled with better control.
Yeah.
Nawaz is, because you felt कि ठीक है, he was getting cut and he got chipped over mid wicket a couple of times, but at least in the second spell or the second half of his overs, he was trying to bowl it slower and he was trying to mix up something. With Shadab, it was just like he was told कि कुछ भी हो जाए, you cannot bowl full or in the good length. मतलब वो, Pranav Anand actually did a tweet and I read it. He's like, Shadab got a wicket on the short ball and he thought कि अच्छा अब यही wicket taking delivery है, so I'll keep bowling it short. It was
Yeah, I think
just too bad. I mean, I can't, don't want to be too harsh, but I felt like he just He bowled like a part-timer today. There's no control whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, folks listening to us right now would be wondering ki why are we annihilating Pakistan so much? They end up winning the game, and winning the game means where is it? Yeah, here it is. Winning the game means Pakistan now have 2 wins in 2 games. They're right up there with New Zealand. Time almost nearly running out for Sri Lanka. Couple of more losses, and they would already be starting to plan for the next edition uh, altogether. Uh, so yeah, I mean, lots to look forward to, and of course tomorrow it's the home team that plays again, game against Afghanistan in Gurkirat's Delhi. Let's see how that. Gurki, are you going to that game?
शो करना है गेम पे कैसे जाएंगे?
अरे अफसोस.
But नहीं यार, going to FSK is a huge deal for me.
यार सुनने में
And
आ रहा है कि काफी इम्प्रूव हो गया है, मतलब सब
yeah,
साफ
yeah,
सफाई वाले
थोड़ा
टीम
थोड़ा
डाल रहे हैं.
थोड़ा मन मेरा मचल गया था. And by the way, tickets were available today also, but they were very expensive. So I was like, नहीं, let's not. So yeah, but I am expecting. I'm expecting the crowd to badly go after Naveen tomorrow, and
Of
yeah,
course.
matlab, Delhi crowd in Delhi can be really hostile if they want to. They've been in those stands. I can't repeat a lot of stuff that they say. So yeah, it can be really hostile. If but I'm interested to see what the pitch would be, because if it turns out to be anything like it was in the last game between Sri Lanka and South Africa, it should be a comfortable win for India. And if it does have some grip, would be again interesting to see that how India play it, and what kind of 11 do India go in with, because Gill's not there. Uh, Not sure if India what's the status of that finger injury to Hardik. I think if there's any injury, India will not risk him. So let's see.
Yep, absolutely. And on that note, we can end the show because वापस भी आना है in around 15 hours time. Most of these faces will be back again. So everyone watching, please, like I've been saying, please like this stream, subscribe to our channel, spread it around to people. We are here. We're not going anywhere. Tomorrow we have 3 shows: the preview show, mid innings, and post game. So please do join us. Tab tak ke liye good night, and it's good night to you, Nikhil and Gurkirat. See you.
Cheers. Good night.
Bye.